you're never stuck doing what you intended on doing or what your parents want you to do.
Hi, welcome to our podcast. Today we'll be interviewing a York High School alumni, Dev Battersby. It's so nice to meet you. My name's Ella Patterson and my co-host is Hayden Cummings. Do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks for having me. Like you said, my name is Devin Battersby. I graduated York High School in 2010, and I currently work for a tech startup that authenticates luxury goods using machine learning and artificial intelligence, and I am based out of New York City.
Perfect, thank you. Our first question is going to be, what was your favorite memory at YHS?
My favorite memory at York High School was probably just all the different clubs that I was involved in. I was pretty much like a leading member of several different clubs, including Young Women's Leadership, Civil Rights Team, newspaper, and a couple others. There was a lot.
During your time in college, did you meet people that really influenced you and helped you figure out your future career?
Yeah, because I'm a very like social person. I love networking and I love organizing events and things like that. So the only way you're going to make it in fashion is through networking. A lot of times people get positions in fashion because they know someone, honestly, is how I feel. It was kind of discouraging freshman year of college because, you get really excitable because as soon as you are through orientation, it's actually Fashion Week here in New York City. So, the college really hypes up New York Fashion Week, and, they often have, a lot of the smaller shows will have tickets designated to having the FIT students help in some sort of capacity at fashion shows. So, there's like a lottery for getting these tickets for helping out in Fashion Week. And the lines, as you can imagine, because what student wouldn't want to participate in that? The lines for that lottery are insane. So the chances of you getting a ticket to help out in Fashion Week are pretty slim. And it's funny, I actually did end up helping in Fashion Week my freshman year. And how I was able to was, I know you guys are probably a little young for this show, but I'm sure you've watched reboots of it and things like that. But Laguna Beach and the Hills was a big show when I was in grade school. And Lauren Conrad, who I'm sure you've heard of, she, had an internship with like DVF, Diane von Furstenberg, and Teen Vogue, and all these other things. And she ended up at this company run by this really um, influential and very strong-minded woman named Kelly Catrone. And Kelly Catrone wrote a book, and she was having a round table in Washington Square Park. And I think she posted it on Twitter. I can't remember how I found out about it. It was probably Twitter. Kelly Catrone posted that she was doing a round table for feedback on her book in Washington Square Park. So I go, and I'm one of like 12 people there. She like orders us pizza. We're like sitting down on the ground in Washington Square Park, and she's like, "Hey guys, like as you know, it's Fashion Week. Like I'd love you guys to like help out on one of my shows." So that's how I ended up actually working in Fashion Week my freshman year, was through Kelly Catrone. And yeah, that was pretty crazy. So that just kind of goes to show like it really is just about networking and a little bit of luck too, I would say, which I'm sure people, like if anyone were to listen to this that are like fashion directors, like the people that I worked for at Bloomingdale's, like they'd probably be like, you don't know what you're talking about. But I really strongly believe a lot of it is networking and luck. And, I've just always made sure that I've always kept a professional relationship with people that I work with and that I've worked with, and clients, and working in retail, even, networking through retail. I've still have a lot of amazing relationships. My mentor, I actually met at working retail. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Perfect, thank you.
So, did you ever regret your decision to pursue a career in fashion? Was there anything you were deciding between?
I think fashion was always the route for me, and I think Mr. Rosenberg will attest. I came to school dressed to the nines, and I actually am not that way at all anymore. But I was voted best dressed both in York Middle School and York High School superlatives. I have always loved fashion. My mom brought me up going to yard sales and estate sales and auctions, and so I've always had this like secondhand mentality. Like I've never really loved retail, and again, my internship in college kind of solidified that I didn't want to go into corporate fashion. And so it was fun. It was great and fun for me. Like in college, I started working at a buy sell trade called Buffalo Exchange. They're based out of Tucson, Arizona, and they're located all around the country. And basically, they offer cash for clothes, so you can bring in your clothes and accessories and things like that, and they offer you cash on the spot. And so that was my college job that I got sophomore year of college. Obviously, New York City is very expensive, and my dad is a saint and has helped me my whole life. But I needed to kind of make my own money too, so I started working retail on top of going to school full time, and that's how I was also able to get more like hands-on experience with fashion and learn more brands that I didn't necessarily learn about in school. Um, it was actually funny. I would always tell people, going to school is kind of like, learning the language over, a textbook and, tests and things like that. But like working retail is more like going to the country and like speaking the language. Um, so yeah, I've never regretted going into fashion. I'm still in fashion to some extent. I'm in luxury authentication. I'm actually the account executive, so I manage all of my customers. I was one of the first 10 employees in my startup. So I do have, some I have a lot of knowledge of how the company got its start, and I've been there since the very beginning, so my customers really trust me, and I love working with them. And that's where kind of I'm glad that I've figured out this direction for myself, because that was the one thing I kind of missed when I left retail. Was I missed the customer interactions and customer experience side of things. So I'm glad that I've kind of built this road for myself and this path within this company, because I did start in authentication support with my current company, Entropy. I was in authentication support, and then I kind of took on some sales and customer experience roles, because again, we've always been a very small team. So it just kind of was like need based, and obviously, like they saw how personable I was, and my networking, and my people skills. So it was kind of an easy way to kind of go get some experience there. And I've been the authentication support team manager, I've been the customer experience manager, but I've realized that recently that I'm kind of burnt out on managing people. And so I'd much rather manage customers, and again, foster those relationships with my customers. And so and with it being a startup, there's still a lot that we haven't built out. So I'm, continuously working with my higher ups to kind of figure out what the next step is for me. Like, how can I grow my career? Because there's jobs and then there's careers. And I felt like 6 years ago when I joined Entropy that this was really my career. Like, I felt like this was like end game. I'm only 31 years old, but, I don't really want to work for anyone else. If I were to leave Entropy, I would just work for myself. So, this is a job I'm really passionate about. I'm definitely very much against counterfeit goods. They are really terrible, not only for the world, but for people. Counterfeit goods help fund, money laundering fronts, child trafficking, sex trafficking, slave labor, guerrilla warfare, on top of, these things and ending up in landfills and polluting our world. So that also goes back to like all the different clubs that I was involved with, young women's leadership, sex trafficking. Slavery is civil rights team, like all of these things that I've always been very passionate about, like anti-counterfeiting is 100% involved in.
Awesome, thank you. We just have one more question for you. What advice do you have for York High School students right now?
I would say keep your mind open. You're never stuck doing what you intended on doing or what your parents want you to do. There's, like I said, my position, my job didn't even exist when I was in high school. Like, I never could have predicted that I would be working for a tech startup in fashion. Like, it is, and my stepmother is a high school teacher up in Casco Bay, and she always talks about my job in this as well, because like you just really need to keep your mind open. Like, you don't know what the future holds, and just find what you really love to do and what you enjoy doing, really. Like I said, I really have always enjoyed fashion, and I'm in it in some capacity still, and I do stuff on the side that still heavily involves me in fashion. And just do what you love. You have to find something that you really, really enjoy. Like I said, I didn't love school, but I found a way to make it work, and I found a way to find something that I could see myself doing for the rest of my life. It took obviously some time. You're going to have some trial and error, and that's where internships are a great thing. But keep your mind open, because you never know what might be out there in the future. Technology and so many different industries are growing at a rapid pace right now that there's just really no telling of what kind of jobs will be out there in the future.
Thank you so much for taking the time to let us interview you. I think we both took a lot away from this, and I hope our listeners feel the same. It was really nice meeting you, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Let me know if I can educate you on anything authentication related. If you're ever looking to buy a handbag and you need some help, I'm your go-to girl.